Joining me right now, I have with me a guest. He is Sheikh Baba Musah. He's a scholar and youth activist, and he joins me now. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so as a youth activist, do you think it's fair that it seems like every year the older Muslim leaders are calling for the youth to be calm? It's like it's year on year, or every celebration we're hearing this. Is it fair that we're hearing the same thing? Is that meaning that they're not listening to the elders?
First of all, let me seize the opportunity to say Barakat Salah to all Ghanaians, more precisely our Muslim brothers and sisters. And Barakat Salah to you too.
Barakat Kade. So I got it right?
You got it right.
Perfect.
For 10 points for that.
Thank you.
I think it's a problem. I think it's a bad phenomenon that the Muslim community is facing. You understand? I mean, it's become an annual thing that our youth, engage in chaotic movement, you understand, especially for those with the motorbikes. I don't think that is fair, you understand. And I think it is up to the youth in the community to look at the people that the community produce, people with a high sense of righteous indignation, somebody like Chief Imam and somebody like the other scholars. I mean, look at their behavior, you understand. It's up to us to get something out of it, but not going out doing something that we will end up harming ourselves and harming others. And this is absolutely unacceptable in the religion and unacceptable in our culture. So first of all, we have to behave as a Muslim and Ghanaians, you understand, and try just to restore peace, try just to restore good behavior, you understand. And I think Eid al-Fitr is not about motor riding. You understand? It's
okay, so let's remind all of us, especially people who may not know, what is Eid al-Fitr about?
Eid al-Fitr, I think, is the most important festival in Islamic calendar. You understand? Even though the day does not mark any spiritual or any historical event or episode, but its existence actually give a Muslim opportunity to give all thanks to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having given him strength and will to observe this 30-day month fasting, you understand. And at the same time too, I think is the day that those who have, you understand, to share a little bit of their portion to those who don't have, understand, especially the poor and the less privileged that we have in the community. So
it's once the fast is broken, you're supposed to give back.
Absolutely.
So do you think that with the youth and the motorbike behavior and sometimes I pray there's no accidents, I really hope it goes without anybody having any accident, do you think then it almost kind of puts a negative spin on the celebration, which is usually such a positive thing?
Absolutely. I think it's very, very obvious. I don't understand why when it comes to Eid, we have the motto, the police have to come and tell the youth that you don't have to do the elders also. I don't think it should be like that. You understand? It's a celebration. We have to celebrate in such a way that, it unify the people, bring us together in love, you understand. And I think Eid itself, the celebration is there to force us for good, to master courage, to think critically for ourselves, master courage to hope, master courage for love too. If you love people, I don't think that you will harm them, you understand, but rather you will get closer to them in order just to have a positive impact in their life. But
okay, let me ask you, Sheikh Baba, you've lived in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Okay, so I want to know, do you think this then youth thing is a Ghanaian thing? Did you see similar behavior when you lived in Saudi Arabia?
I haven't seen anything like this before. I saw a different thing altogether. You understand?
So in Saudi Arabia,
even in Ghana here is a new thing. You understand? Even when we were young here in Ghana, you don't see. It's not common for you to do something like this. But I think it's something that came, not quite long ago, and we have people that trying just to make it a phenomenon, you understand. But I think it's our responsibility, your responsibility, to fight against it, because that's not Eid. No,
it's not. Do you then think also that the leaders are losing touch with the youth? Is there like a generational gap where they don't understand each other when it comes to celebrating in that particular way?
I think so. The youth have energy, you understand, and I think this energy need to be redirected into a redemptive channel, you understand. People have, there is nothing going on in the community. We're supposed to, organize something for them. We also have to make sure that we use you know, their level of creativity to create something that will bring, you know, all of them on one table to share and to have, you know, a very good moment. You understand? So for that, I think I have to tell the leaders out there that they should sit with the youth and have a brainstorm with them so that they can, you know, bring something good.
So you think just calling them to do so is not enough? They need to actually engage them?
Engagement is very, very important. You understand? I mean, because if you sit with them and talk with them, discuss with them, I mean, they're very, very brilliant. You understand? But the problem is that they most of the time been misguided by others. You understand? Because of the energy that we have, most of the time we want to show it up. You understand? It's like everybody, you know. So yeah.
Okay. When it comes to the behavior, or I'm sure it's usually a minority of youths doing that, because I'm sure it's not like a vast range of Muslim youth who tend to go and cause the trouble on the motorbike and all so forth. Do you feel like there's a link with maybe unemployment? I know you mentioned the fact that a lot of them are not engaged correctly.
Exactly.
So do you feel like there's also been enough done to pay particular attention to some of these people who are unemployed to have something to do? Because if they were working, and do you think they'll still go out and engage in that kind of behavior?
Well, I think that's another different issue. When it comes to Eid, I mean, it's holiday.
So you think anybody can behave in that way?
Anybody can behave, you understand? It is time for us to bring them on board, to talk to them, you know, to have a very serious conversation, very serious discussion with them and tell them exactly what it is all about. It's not about, you know, chaotic motor riding. You understand? It's sort of about, you know, putting people in a very difficult, you know, sport that they can't even, you know, breathe. It is there for us to celebrate, you know, in a very peaceful way, you know, not only for Muslim, but I think for our Christian neighbors too, you know, they also have their share in Eid.
Okay. When it comes, I mean, we have a social, an impact segment now be coming up about the notion and pretty much a stereotype that Muslims are violent. And it's something that the world, you know, they'll give you Al-Qaeda, they'll give you right now, just down the road, our neighbors, Boko Haram. As a youth activist, young person, how do you think that notion, how do you think that notion can be reversed right now?
I think before going to that question, I mean, we always have to distinguish between the Islam and some practice of some Muslims. You understand? I think Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda, for me, are not practicing the Islam, even though they take Islam, I think, as a camouflage. You understand? For their ill, you know, ideology. You understand? Let us say that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that Al-Qaeda and Boko Haram actually represent Islam, not at all. Islam is there. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave us a good example of Muslim, the gentleman that all of us, you know, trying just to emulate. You understand? Gave us a very clear example. I think it takes you and I as a Muslim, you understand, to put, you know, a very positive practices. You understand? The way that we behave, the way that we engage ourselves with others, the way that we talk to others. You understand? Our behavior with our co-workers, our behavior with our neighbors, our behavior with everybody. You understand? Allah in Quran stated emphatically that the human beings are honored, and human being, he didn't distinguish between a Muslim and a non-Muslim. You understand? The human soul are very, very priceless and precious, and they ought to be respected, and and also it is, I mean, the human lives are ought to be protected. You understand? If you are a good Muslim, I think you are there to protect lives. You understand? You're not there to destroy or to shed blood. No, not at all.
Okay, I mean, looking at today, I know I heard yesterday in Nima there was a lot of activity.
Absolutely.
You know, even me, I'm like, unless there's some food and chicken for me, I'm not going through Nima. I'm trying to avoid Nima. Also, looking at Nima, of course, celebrations are happening, you know, most of the Zongo communities and so forth. You're a youth. What would you, I guess, just talk to your fellow brothers, and most of the time we're talking about the brothers. I don't do the women also engage in that? We're not so much. Or let's just say, talk to your fellow youth. How would you just advise them in terms of celebrating today in the way that it should? What advice would you give them?
I think we've been striving for the whole month for spiritual nutrition. You understand? And God, you know, blessed us with that nutrition. I think that nutrition has to take us for a long time. You understand? Let us celebrate according to the teaching of Islam. You know, most of the time people, you know, especially for non-Muslim, you know, they see that to be the main religion. You understand? It's absolutely against their religion. Islam gave you, you know, opportunity to celebrate, but how do you celebrate? That's the question. You understand? You don't have to celebrate in such a way that you bring, you know, indecency. You understand? Indiscipline. You have to celebrate it in discipline and, you know, in very, very decent way.
Okay.
You understand? That's the teaching of Islam. You understand? You have a right to celebrate, but it gives you, what's it call it, a category in which the celebration have to. You understand?
And that category, as you're saying, it should be decent.
Decent.
And how do we, you know, put decent into context? So maybe Mike can say my decent is I'm gonna ride a motorbike.
Not at all.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with riding a motorbike, but I'm gonna pop wheelies and do because I'm young and I want to be, you know.
I think decency is something I think is natural, not only for Muslim but for human being. You understand? I don't think that every person who see how our people, my precious brothers out there, the motor riders. I mean, first thing that comes to your mind, this is not decent. You understand? The kind of dress that some of us put, that's not decent too. And the kind of celebration, you understand, engagement that we engage ourselves, you understand, in celebration also, it tells you. You understand? I'm not here to tell, even though everybody has his, you know, own way of understanding what decency is, but as a Muslim, I think a Muslim out there really understand exactly what it's all about.
All right. Okay, we're gonna end up. But lastly, how are you celebrating? And can we come and get some food at your place?
Absolutely. I have enough to share with my brothers and sisters.
Wonderful.
So I'm inviting you to my house today.
Okay. Do you know I have a lot of houses
I'm
to visit.
be my guest today.
Okay, I have a lot of houses to visit. I want to say a big thank you to my guest, Sheikh Baba Musah, who is a scholar and youth activist. What should I call her? Hajia Sandra is standing.